We come into this world wide-eyed. You've seen those pictures of newborn babes looking around with those big, round, curious eyes. Gives you goosebumps. Yet these little ones are blind to who they really are. We are told we come with a clean slate to start another round of learning from scratch. But what if the slate is not clean, just wiped? The memories of who we've been stripped away, the soul's full spectrum awareness dimmed to a mere flicker, if that even. And with every rebirth, we forget again. Is this divine mercy or cosmic manipulation? In this episode, we begin to pull back the veil on one of the most poignant mysteries of existence, the memory wipe. Why are our past lives, our true nature, our cosmic origins hidden from us? Don't you find that a smidge suspicious? And who benefits from our forgetting? Now, these are questions I've been asking for some time now, my misgivings increasing with every attempted answer. From ancient Gnostic warnings to modern-day soul trap whistleblowers, from children who remember names and places they've never known, to spiritual seekers reclaiming fragments of truth through dreams, visions, and deep inner work. We'll explore the mechanics of the forgetting and how to break free of it. Because remembering in this context isn't just nostalgia, it's liberation. This is the journey of the soul beyond the trap. And I'm the Grumpy Grandpa. So what are the mechanics of the forgetting? There are two important questions on my mind every time I consider this reality. What is the purpose of the memory wipe? And secondly, if life is a school, why erase the lessons? Mainstream spirituality says we forget in order to keep each life experience pure, to avoid bias or interference from past karma. And there is a sense in which this can sound credible. I suppose it has to, in order to perpetuate the trick. An incredible explanation would not work as well. You can't trick souls competently with outlandish justifications. They have to sort of make sense. But a deeper question would be, what if this is not a benevolent design, but a containment system? A trap to keep souls disoriented. After all, a bewildered soul is a docile soul, lost, looking outward, never realizing the key is within. Because without memory, the soul can no longer anchor itself in truth. It has forgotten what the truth is. You forget your purpose, your origin, and most importantly, your power. So instead, you adopt a false identity handed to you by society, culture, religion, or even your family. And this opens the door for external authority figures to define who you are, what you're worth, and what your life is supposed to mean. The disoriented soul looks outward for answers, to gurus, systems, ideologies, and institutions. We constantly seek permission to be worthy instead of knowing who we are. We see this pattern around us everywhere today, especially among young people for some reason. Ideology infects almost everything, and this makes us become dependent. And that dependency feeds the system. Ideology isn't necessarily a bad thing, except when it has such a grip on us, we become unable to think for ourselves. We become trapped within its grasp. When we adopt an ideology too rigidly, it becomes a mental cage. We filter reality through its lens, accepting only what aligns and rejecting entirely what doesn't, even if the truth lies outside that view. Ideologies often oversimplify complex issues into black and white, good and evil. This erases the grey areas where real understanding and progress often resides. Strong ideological identification breeds an us versus them mentality. This can lead to polarization, hostility, and the breakdown of dialogue between differing groups. Ideologies can hijack our emotions, especially fear, pride, and moral outrage, to keep us loyal. This dangerous emotional charge can override critical thinking, and too often does. When we become fused with a belief system, we may ignore new evidence, resist change, or demonize dissenters. Personal and societal growth stalls. And ideologies are often crafted or co-opted by politicians and others in power to control populations. When people are ideologically possessed, they police themselves and others, serving the system without realizing it. Now, does this sound familiar? Just look around. This is the danger a disoriented soul faces. So without a continuous memory thread, the soul becomes compartmentalized. Past life traumas remain unresolved, creating subconscious fears and behavioral patterns that are never understood or healed. This creates lifetimes of karmic loops, not because the soul is learning, but because it's reacting blindly. The disoriented soul is more likely to believe that we're here to suffer, that we are sinners in need of redemption, and our only hope is to believe in an external savior or divine plan. These beliefs hand over our sovereignty, ensuring the trap is consensual, at least on the surface. When you don't remember what lies beyond, death becomes terrifying, especially if you're told there is an eternal hell awaiting the uncompliant. So you cling to material life, relationships, and false ego identity. This fear of death and the unknown makes souls more likely to reincarnate into familiar patterns, even painful ones. Disoriented souls can't discern between true guidance and false light. They are easily manipulated in the astral realm, whether by deceptive beings or misleading spiritual constructs. It's the equivalent of being a tourist in a foreign land without a map, surrounded by smiling con artists. So you can see why this trap needs no bars. It doesn't need guards. It just needs you to forget. Because when you forget, you become manageable. But when you remember, you become ungovernable. This is not just a forgetting, it's suppression. The Gnostics were quite close to the truth, in my opinion. They taught much the same thing, only used different language or metaphors. They taught that the demiurge and his archons blind the soul upon entering the material world. For the Gnostic, memory is severed to amputate divine identity. Hypnosis and regression techniques have also revealed some interesting findings. Practitioners like Dolores Cannon and Michael Newton have uncovered a veil or barrier in the between-life state beyond which deeper soul memory is inaccessible. Some experiencers say the light is a lure, and passing through it results in memory reset and reincarnation. The soul is said to be entrained or dragged, if you like, into the Earth's low vibration grid, dulling its awareness, making true memory unreachable. Descriptions of crystalline rooms, flashes of light, or mechanical systems used by non-human entities to erase past life recall is also reported. But there are cracks in the system. Some remember. For them, the veil is thin. We have already looked in previous episodes at the adults and children with past life recall, like James Leninger and Jenny Cockell. James remembered his dying as a World War II pilot, and Jenny found her past life family. But this is not the norm. However, these cracks in the system have opened up a whole new vista on the afterlife, where individuals report having remembered everything, only to forget again upon returning. Dreams have triggered spontaneous memories, flashbacks, symbols, or sudden emotional connections to people and places. The story of Jenny Cockell was one of the first I looked at when starting out on this journey of discovery. And I well remember the intense emotion I felt as I watched her story unfold, as though it echoed within. There was a familiarity about it. You see, there are moments in my life when something quietly stirs, an almost memory, but not quite a recollection, but more like an emotional echo. It's as if something hidden is gently trying to reveal itself. I'll feel a wave of emotional familiarity, usually pleasant, accompanied by a sense of having been somewhere deeply comforting, somewhere that felt like home, and yet there's nothing in this life I can trace it back to. No specific event, no place I've visited, no memory to anchor it to. Just this strong, unshakable awareness that I've been there, somewhere, sometime. An emotional version of déjà vu. Now, there are some emotional experiences where I can't trace to an event or time or place, but I'm talking about something different here. The emotion is fleeting. And these profound experiences continue to revisit me on a regular basis. Then there are those who claim to access soul histories and recover lost knowledge through inner journeys. They argue that they have access to the Akashic Records. Now, I have long been interested in the Akashic field as a kind of database. And this is an important aspect of regaining the memory of who we are. Because some say everything we've done, thought or felt is written into a field of light or vibration. So what if remembering isn't about discovering, but about tuning in, like a radio station. Remember, everything is frequency, and this is key. So what are the Akashic Records? They're described as a non-physical library of the soul. The Akashic Records are said to hold a complete archive of every thought, emotion, intention, and action across all lifetimes. The word Akasha comes from Sanskrit meaning ether or space. It's the fifth element. It's the substrate of all spiritual existence. Mystics, sages, and seers have referred to this field for thousands of years, calling it the Book of Life, from Christian mysticism, the Halls of Amenti, Egyptian Hermeticism, and the Mind of God, from Theosophy and Eastern traditions. So why is this important to the trap narrative? Well, because if there is a cosmic database that records everything, then the soul is never truly lost, only blocked. Because the Akashic field bypasses the wipe. It exists outside the artificial boundaries of Earth's frequency grid. It's not local to the brain or physical body. It's part of the larger consciousness system. So if you can access it, you can remember. And this includes past life identities, soul contracts, karmic entanglements, and the original blueprint of your soul before the distortion. In other words, it's a backdoor to sovereignty. Remembering your soul's full story allows you to break loops, reject false contracts, and reclaim fragmented parts of yourself scattered across lifetimes. Which brings us to a vital question. How is it accessed? In considering this, we must understand that the records are not locked. We are just trained not to look, with all kinds of misdirection and distraction. This is similar to what I've said in the past, that for a good remote viewer, there are no secrets. Similarly, for one who is able to access the Akashic field, there is full remembrance. I guess both access the same Akashic database when we think about it. So where do we begin? Well, first there is meditation and altered states. Deep theta brainwave frequencies through meditation, sound, breathwork, etc. can allow spontaneous downloads from the Akasha. Some intuitives claim to enter the records consciously using prayer, vibration, or guided protocols. Linda Howe's method, for example, not Linda Moulton Howe. Then there is near-death experiences and spontaneous recall. Some experiencers describe a life review that matches Akashic descriptions, suggesting a soul-level data stream that remains intact despite the wipe. Finally, there are dreams and symbol streams. Certain dreams are not symbolic, but informational. They may contain direct glimpses of the soul's true history. So if all of this is true, the question is, why isn't everyone accessing the Akashic field? Well, firstly, there is interference and conditioning. The system encourages doubt, distraction, and dependency. Most people aren't trained to seek inner data. They seek authority outside themselves. We saw this during COVID. Relatively few look inward these days. Astral deception is another. Not all records are pure. There are reports of false Akashic fields, manipulated or corrupted data streams, created to trap the seeker in loops of guilt, shame, or spiritual ego. And some say that parts of the records are blurred out by our own higher selves until we are emotionally or spiritually stable enough to integrate the truth. But that's another rabbit hole for another time. For me, soul readiness is part of the awakening process. Some souls are just not prepared for the truth yet. For someone who lives a normal life, we call them normies, fully programmed by the system, imagine the trauma of having these lifelong beliefs overturned in a moment. Some can handle it, while others simply can't. They need to work towards it, slowly and in stages. If you're interested in learning how to access the Akashic Records, I'll attach a brief guided meditation at the end of the video. But I want to make it plain that I'm only just starting this process myself, and I haven't yet successfully attached to the Akashic field. But that doesn't mean that you can't do it far more quickly than me in all probability. And don't forget, this is a process, so don't expect results immediately. So we could view the records as an echo of our wholeness. The memory wipe is not total. It's a veil, not a deletion. And through the Akashic stream, we can remember what we were never meant to forget. The Akashic Records suggest the soul is not actually disconnected, just misaligned. And by turning back in, we can reclaim our soul's origin and mission, our true name or frequency signature, and the patterns we are here to break. Breaking pattern is what we should be all about in this snare, to disrupt the system. So how does the memory wipe serve the trap? I suppose we could say that a soul who remembers is a soul who escapes. If we don't remember who we are, we can be manipulated, controlled, and recycled. Another name for this is disempowerment. Again, look around you and you'll see this blueprint everywhere. Then there is consent through ignorance. Reincarnation only works unless you hold to the Farsight Institute's explanation, if we willingly agree to come back. And that's easier when we've forgotten the pain of the past. And we must not forget our disconnection from Source. The ultimate goal of the wipe may be to keep a soul in a loop, severed from our divine origin, thus constantly feeding the trap system with energy. To remember is to begin stepping out of the prison. But what is it that we remember? A name? A life? Or the very truth of what we are? In our next episode, we'll go deeper into the experience of those who broke through the veil and what they saw beyond it. Some say there is a place beyond the trap, a home, the source of everything, a wholeness we forgot. But hopefully we are now on the return journey. Before we end this episode, I have a brief announcement. Now, I'm not exactly known for my intelligence or my charm, or really any notable achievement. But I am known for one thing, being gloriously and apologetically grumpy. So much so, in fact, that I've decided to coin a new word. That's right. Because if this world insists on being ridiculous, the least I can do is grumpify it.
Grumpify, to take anything bright, cheerful, or remotely hopeful, and lovingly drag it down into the gutter with a good old-fashioned frown. For example, he grumpified that live, laugh, love sign into a rant about how laughter causes wrinkles.
So join me the next time for more cheerfully miserable insights from the grumpy grandpa, where the coffee's never hot enough, the music's always too loud, and the grumpification never ends. Find a stillness, even if the world around you moves. Close your eyes or soften your gaze and take a deep breath in and out. You're not here to believe, you are here to remember. Now, imagine a quiet space just behind your heart, a vast inner corridor of silence where no voice from the world can reach you. Just the rhythm of your breath and the hum of your soul. You stand at the edge of a great expanse, infinite, shimmering, alive. This is not imagination. This is memory waking up. Before you there is a library of light, not made of books or shelves, but of living awareness. Every step you've taken, every name you've carried, every lesson your soul has endured is here, now. This field holds it all. It does not judge. It does not forget. It simply remembers. You are not asking permission to enter. You are returning. Gently in your heart, speak this intention. I am ready to remember what my soul has always known. Feel that intention echo outward like the ripples across a still lake, and listen, not with ears, but with knowing. A symbol may appear, a memory, a sensation, a feeling. Don't chase it, just notice. Let it come to you. This is how the soul speaks. And now ask a quiet question. Something simple, something true. Who was I before the forgetting? Why did I come here? What am I still carrying that no longer serves me? The answer may be a whisper, a shape, a single word, or just silence. And in that silence, a knowing. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are remembering. Take one final breath in this space and gently return. Carry the light with you, even if you don't fully understand yet. You've already opened the door. The memory is waking up.